to start with an introduction. Surely you cannot cover the whole story of Jacob, but I'm gonna say something like introduction, then we're gonna stop at few spots in his life, and that's it. Now, when you read the verse, I am the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. How convenient are you comparing God of Abraham and Isaac to Jacob? And how is it fair that God called himself the father of Jacob? And Abraham, for example, followed the promise, right? Offered his son, right? Yes, he had some mistakes, I agree. Isaac, a quiet man, some few mistakes. It's okay. But Jacob, anyone knows how was the life of Jacob in the beginning? How was the beginning? From the first time you hear his name, coming out of the womb of his mom, catching in the heel of his what? Brother. That shows us maybe what character are we following through this night. The second thing I think which caused many controversial things about Jacob, the way he received or he got the blessings of the first one. How he got this? Through what? Deception. Right? Deception. A clear deception. Accepting the deception, and his mom also sharing this one. Deception. By the way, what was the blessing of the first birth? What was it? Do you think? Why this blessing was important? Do you think? What do you think? Anyone thought about it? Why the first born blessing was important at that time? Is it that, yes?
Inheritance?
Which inheritance?
Your father.
Yeah, I mean, okay.
You inherit the kingdom of your father.
Wrong.
Is it the inheritance of the blessing of your father or of the family?
Wrong. I know, I'm not saying this is offensive, by the way. But sometimes you think that it's all about something of materials. But the blessing was, at that time, that the head of this family, he is like the priest of the family. He is the spiritual leader of this what? Family. So God will put this family through this person. That's what is Esau sacrificed. He sacrificed to be a spiritual leader for this house with a small plate of linen. That's not the topic, but Jacob got it through a deceptive way, right? Then what happened afterwards? He ran away, right? Right? Then he went to his uncle. Then he lived there for how many years? 7 plus 6, 20 years, right? 20 years. And he get out of this after he also deceived his what? His uncle. How come God is the God of those people? This is my first point. What does this tell us about the character of God? Let me open with you Genesis 28. If you have the Bible with you, I have my Arabic one. Read Arabic despite the outdoor. You have the English one with you, guys? Genesis 28. Who can read for us from verse 10? This is exactly the first night Jacob is out of his what? House. I want you guys to live with me this. What is here? His father discovered that he did something wrong. His mother told him to flee out because his brother will do what way? Will what? Kill him. You know Jacob was what to his mom? Yeah?
He's a mama's boy.
Exactly. the Old Testament with signs. So when he came to Esau, he said, because he was what? Hairy, okay? When he came to Jacob, he said like this. A very what? Soft. He wasn't soft. Maybe he was soft because he stayed at home. But inside, he wasn't. So the first night out of his what? House. And by the way, there's no lights. He was walking well in the woods. Read with me كده and read with me. Look at it first from verse 10.
Now Jacob went out from Beersheba and went towards Haran. So they came to a certain place and stayed there all night because the sun had set. And he took one of the stones out of that place and put it at his head.
1 second, please. Now, you want to sleep in the desert. What is your which way you going to choose? So you choose what? The stone, right? And what? Sleeping. What do you expect at night in the desert? Animal snakes, and for sure darkness. For someone who's, we call him like mommy's son. It's not easy for him. I have a question for you. What do you think God would plan for you at this moment? How many times you feel that you have done something wrong? Okay? And there's someone is after you, your conscience is eating you up, and you are alone, not in the desert. I believe in Europe you have many deserts. And in this life, and I want to look, I think most of us have this pain that I am what? Alone. After all the social media connections, when you sit alone, you feel what? Loneliness. No one can understand you. And I cannot relate really to myself. Big problem. So despite that, on top of this, I did something wrong against God. I deceived God. So what happened that night? Sleeping on the stone at night. What happened? Read. 12.
And he dreamed, and behold, the ladder was up on the earth, and its top reached to the heaven. And there the angels of God were ascending and descending on it. And behold, the Lord stood above it, and said, I am the Lord God of Abraham, your father, and the God of Isaac. The land on which you lie I will give to you and your descendants. Also your descendants shall be as the dust of the earth. You shall spread abroad to the west and the east, to the north and the south. And in you and in your seed all the families of the earth shall be blessed. Behold, I am with you, and will keep you wherever you go, and bring you back to this land. For I will not leave you until I have done what I have spoken to you.
What do you call this from God? Something what? A vow? More than this?
Covenant.
Promise?
Covenant.
Oath. Covenant with whom? Oath with whom?
Abraham.
No, with someone what? In such a case.
Who is not the head of the house?
He did nothing wrong. Good. He did nothing wrong till now. But yet God's covenant what? Is with him. This is love. This is God's love. Despite what I do or what you have done. Despite anything wrong, I'm not saying that we allow ourselves to be like lenient, but his covenant is always what? Ending.
Which is my only problem with what God did, is it shows that you can have good intentions, like Jacob knew that what the birthright meant to him, and Esau didn't know, and he just sold. But it doesn't mean just because I have good intentions, I know like how great this thing is, I can go and be deceiving and do bad things to go and gain this.
I agree with you, I disagree. I agree that God said that the younger will be better than the older. And everything Jacob did out of God's plan, he paid it. Yeah, and since he went out of this time, he didn't see his mother till he died. And he was in enmity with his brother till the end. He paid. When he deceived his uncle, he paid. When he came against Leah because she has dim eyes, he paid. He paid everything. God close the womb of Rachel, open the womb of Leah. Anything we do, whatever you sow, you will reap. But God's promises are always there for you, despite this. Am I clear? So, how God showed this favor to such a person, and how God is showing me and you, after all what are we doing, the same of unchangeable confidence and unchangeable love. How come at the end, Samson's name is mentioned in the book of Hebrews, after all what he has done? Because God is faithful, despite our unfaithfulness. And I'm not saying this as a license that we go astray and do whatever we want. This is the misusing of God's love. And this is, I feel, this generation especially need to be corrected. That there's nothing called love without fear of the Lord. And fear of the Lord always out of what? Out of love. Habibi, you don't know if this generation make a difference in this life, what will happen around us. You don't know. You don't know if we step in God's promises and trust and go, what will happen to the community around us. Jacob, I was the first time when he said, and you, all the tribes of the earth will be what? Blessed. Like whom? Like Abraham. But I'll start with something here. What does the ladder mean? What do you think? Despite it, tell me, if you see a ladder, connection. God want to tell him what? Still, network is what is working. In the midst of your misery, God is stretching what? A ladder. In the middle of your process, do something wrong. Another what? Ladder. When the road seems as a dead end, God is sending what? A ladder. Don't say there's no way. I don't know the verse, but I want to say, even for death, God has what? Exits. Even for death, God has what? Exits. Tomorrow or after tomorrow, the gospel will be Lazarus. Everyone said he has been there for how many days? 4 days. God said, he will come. Don't believe what devil tells you that God has forgotten about you. I'm going to tell you, sometimes I sit with Christians, baptized, and they speak about another God. You think God still loves me? Ya Habib, على كل ده. You think God trusts me? Yes, Habib. Yes, sir. أهو حرام كذاب مليان يعني كده عارف يقولوا mixed with sinful nature, and yet God what? His love is all the same. A ladder. In the midst of your problem, God is sending what? A ladder. Not only this, but angels, What does it mean?
That there's a connection.
There is a connection. Another thing, a voice with blessings. I think if you ask someone whom you call himself did a big thing, and I hate this word, but I did something big. We classify sins. For sure, this sin. You are adapting your conscious to respond with something big happening. But I'm telling you, big thing always starts with what? Small things. It was only I'm going up over the roof to watch daily. It ended up. Please don't play with the small things. Just a lie. I'm sorry. I'm very sorry. White lie, pink lie. No. A lie is a lie. It was just a look. I just snapped something and come back. Nothing. Big things start with what? Small things. Believe me, Harry. Believe me. But God, His covenant is always the same. So imagine God surprised Jacob in the midst of the desert, in the midst of his deceitful life. God searching what? Does He doing so again with you these days? Does God do the same with you nowadays? يعمل كده ربنا معانا لغايه النهارده ولا لا؟ معاك انت بيعمل كده till now. Till now the door is open. Till now God is open. Look, another thing in this here please. 16.
Then Jacob awoke from his sleep and said, surely the Lord is in this place, and I did not know it.
I love this. He was what? There I didn't. No, what does it mean? God is always what? There for you till you open the windows. I discovered something. It was there by the way, but you were not paying attention. He was there, and then?
And he was afraid and said, how awesome is this place? This is none other than the house of God.
How awesome is the place? In the desert? Yes, because who's there in the desert? God is there. Don't be surprised when you see people in the middle of pain and suffering and they're like, saying, I love it. A friend of mine in Egypt is a great story. He had a printing business. And one day, a tourist came and found him. Someone came and designed something and paid. They were like mocking the traffic in Egypt. Okay, sticker. You know, Egypt. You put it on. So someone, a tourist, was passing. He found and he wrote to this is an offended sticker against the tourism company in Egypt, tourist industry in Egypt, and please do something. So he went to Amn al-Dawla and he knew who did this, and he found himself, people capturing him because you are affecting the national security of Egypt. He wasn't. It was someone, it was business. The one who designed wasn't him. That is real story. You know Amir Afla? A ghost. You know him, guys? And then what? You know what? He was taken into a military court. And in 2 weeks, it was a sign that he is going to be in court. And the lawyer told him at least, because this again the security of the country, at least 7 years. He had a good meeting prayed for him in the church, and he went to visit him in jail. You know what happened? When he go and meet in jail, he said to them, please finish, I have business now. He was talking to 2 people downstairs, getting them to know Christ. And 2 of them, he won them into Christ. The day before the court, the Lord told them, no way. 7 years, with mercy, 5 years. Next day, he was free. Nothing. Clear. This is someone who did something good in the middle of. Are we seeing what happened around us? Can we see God in the middle, doing something even with my weak vessel? That's it. I'll go again, then what happened?
Then Jacob rose early in the morning and took the stone that he had put in his head, set it up as a pillar, and poured oil on top of it. And he called the name of that place Bethel. But the name of the city had been Luz previously. Then Jacob made a vow, saying, if God will be with me and keep me in this way that I am going, and give me bread to eat and clothing to put on, so that I come back to my father's house in peace, then the Lord shall become my God. And this stone which I have set as a pillar shall be God's house. And all that you give me, I will surely give tenths to you.
What's wrong with this promise, with this vow? Is something wrong with this vow?
He's going to make like said that if you do this, I'll make you my God. So he gave him an ultimatum.
Exactly. If you do something, I will, but what if not, then we need. If حاليا يقول لك يا رب يعني if God show me a sign, I'll be okay. If God say for this, I will do this. Yes, I can. But if not, then يعني though after all this vision, but his understanding to God is still what? Based on what? Benefits. You give me, I will give you. If you help me with this test, in the summer I promise I'll serve you وهبقى كويس وهبطل الحاجات الوحشة كلها. ده لسه ماله؟ ها؟ Doesn't know who is God. Doesn't know. عشان كده تلاقي حد فينا sometimes يقول لك ربنا ما عملش اللي انا عاوزه. اعمل ايه بقى؟ ها؟ Forget about what? يقول لك backslide. After the retreat وكل حاجة كله كان تمام رجع something wrong happened not against something against his plan. قال لك بقى هات ربنا ورب كل حاجة وعمل كسر كل حاجة. Yes. Okay? This is the first spot which I want us to see here. God is faithful, God is love, despite our what? Own failure. All the same, unchanged. The second thing, open with me the last vision he saw in Genesis 32, I'm sorry. Genesis 32. And from verse 22. Where are we exactly in the story? He ran away from his uncle, and he gave his brothers after him to do what? To kill him. And geographically, his uncle was behind him, and his brother is what? Is coming towards him. Someone want to take his positions, whatever he took from him, and the other one having the bill with interest. What you took from me long time ago, having this amount of anger, I'm coming to kill you. And again, he is what? He's what? Alone. Let us see what happened.
He arose that night and took his 2 wives and his 2 female servants and his 11 sons and crossed over the ford of Jabbok. He took them and sent them over the brook and sent over what he had. Then Jacob was left alone, and a man wrestled with him until the breaking of day. Now,
Tell me, I think you know the story. And he said this man is what? Is God. What do you see? How do you see this? God is wrestling with someone. Is it wrestling like this? What do you think? بابا شو ده هذا؟ ابن قلادة وحاجب واملأ الليل صراخ حامل. Wrestling. What does wrestling? He wrestled with God. What does it mean?
Question.
Is it? Huh?
Maybe question.
Maybe question.
Going back and forth in discussion, question.
But he said wrestling.
Like physically?
What do you think?
I thought it was good.
I was thinking question.
Question. What do you think was in his mind on that time? After all these years, what was in his mind at that time?
Jacob.
Yes. Yes.
He's scared of his brother?
Scared of not only his son. That you know what happened? He left his sons and daughters and wives behind him. And this was his family now. He is detached from his family, afraid from what happened tomorrow. His brother, his uncle, surrounded with what? And I think logically, I need the ladder that night. Not what? Huh? Not a wrestling, right? And if you want to surprise me, I need a ladder, another ladder, just to tell me that I'm okay. But someone to wrestle with me. How can you wrestle with God like this man? Open Song of Songs 6:5. I love this verse. And God can be really conquered in this wrestling. Song of Songs 6:5. يلا حبيبي. You get it? Yes.
Turn your eyes away from me, for they have overcome me.
Wow. Third what? Your eyes from me. Was what?
For they have
For they have what? Overcome. What does it mean? your eyes. The way you look at God, need His help. The way you are seeking His will and His love, conquer Him. He cannot stand this. Like Bartimaeus, when he was, Son of David, have mercy on me, he stopped everyone and said, I need this guy. Why God, after this God gives me a blessing, why God, if I can, seems for him cannot bless me? No, He's ready with the blessings. But He wants someone to do what? To wrestle with Him. You know what? You want to see how Jacob wrestled with God? Open Hosea chapter 12. The book of Hosea chapter 12 and verse 4. Then I go back to Genesis. Hosea 12, 4. If you get it, just read it. Yes.
Yes, he struggled with the angel and prevailed. He wept and sought favor from him.
Wow. That was the wrestle. It was what?
He struggled with the angel and prevailed. He wept and sought favor from him.
And he wept and he sought what? Favor. And in the Arabic, when he said, he asked him to have mercy what? On him. So over the wrestling, it was tears and have mercy on me. Someone wrestled a short wrestle in the New Testament, by the way. A tax collector, right? Right? He said, have mercy on me, I'm a sinner. And he won or not? He won. Shafik, sometimes we lose this when we turn our face from God without a heart of wrestling. You want a blessing? Let me read back Genesis back to see what happened. Read this again for us, please.
Verse
24.
Then Jacob was left alone, and a man wrestled with him until the breaking of day.
From when? From the evening till? Can I ask you, when was the last time you spent definitely, separately, half an hour praying to God? طب بلاش half an hour, 15 minutes. Continuous 15 minutes praying to God. When was the last time you did it alone? Not prayer meeting بقى ومؤتمرات, لا, alone in your room. When was the last time you did so? شفتوا المشكلة فين؟ I heard about God. Someone told me, all this ashes out. What you have taken from God personally is what will remain what with you. I will say it again. I love the meetings, I love all this. But what you take from God alone in your room, no one will give it to you. عشان كده مثلا أما بشوي was praying the whole night بيعمل إيه؟ Wrestling in different angle. Wrestling different, I want to understand. I read about Athanasius, how God gave him the beginning of the creed. He said, him and another bishop, his name is Hilarion, was praying together. He said, in one prayer, forgive us as we enter into your holiness and want to speak about you. Forgive us and give us a word from you. شايفين؟ That is Athanasius, the great. We do the opposite nowadays. Prepare, have a good presentation, good PowerPoint. Where is the wrestling for those who will listen? How many of you are serving in a Sunday school amongst you? Can I ask you, do you pray for your kids during the week? Really? You spend time praying for this half an hour every Sunday. You do so. Before you go and give food in the mission, you pray for those who will eat this food. جماعة احنا we're doing something. We do something like called events, but nothing will stand because there's no prayers. When you pray, this will happen here. Something will what? Will be broken. Read for me what happened after this.
Now
in the midst of the world, we are not what? Straightforward. The حقيقي. We're not. We're not. Still serving what? Huh? Two what? Two masters. You know when Elijah said, till when you gonna حتى ما تعرفون بين الايه؟ فرقتين. No, the original word is you have a leg.
Living.
Yes, يعني مش في حاجة رجل أطول من رجل، فأنت ماشي عمال تعمل إيه؟ What's wrong between you and God? What was the wrestle? Your plan or my what? Plan. Jacob went all the way with his plan. Now we have to do what? Huh? I planned for this. What is my opinion? My opinion is different than this. Ask Uncle Samir kida. Many times we plan for retreats and a talk, and at one point, and when you stand to pray to you, no, something else. Are we willing to accept the other will of God to break us in order to bless us? And before Moses said, I'm going to save my people by killing the Egyptians, God said what? Come. Desert. 40 years more. You come back with a staff and you're going to save my people. This is my way of saving others. I'm telling you, when God's breaking something within you, He wants to do what? To bless you more and more with His own stuff. When you say no to God before Him, God will tell you, I am yours now. No blessings without what? Without what? Breaking. Don't expect blessing that something else, something within you should be what? Broken. Like what? My ego, for example. My ego. The biggest barrier between you and God is what? Your ego. I always say, especially in this generation, the most difficult word for this generation to say that I am wrong. إنه طبعا يقول لك be yourself طبعا مظبوط. Don't let someone step over you. كلام الهبل اللي بيسمعوا ده. As if you are God. Be your own God. خلاص good luck حبيبي. The humble God is not with you. Good luck. Fight with your parents, fight with whatever you want. I am wrong. You know what is? I'm not wrong. What the second word? I don't care. I don't care. على طول. على طول. ما هي دي جاية بدي. I'm always right. And I sometimes ask, hey, you're always right. يعني مش ولا حاجة. يعني بس always right. وطبعا blaming whom دايما ها؟ قول لمين؟ Who are around him? Your parents والcircumstances والكنيسة وأبونا والخدام. طب وأنت إيه؟ Angel. اسم الصليب عليك. بعدين بقى after all this, see him كده in his room. What is doing in his room? Something completely what? Different. ليه؟ طب قول أنا say I'm wrong. I am wrong. أنا ساعات بعد ما حد بقى خلاص تبقى قاعد جاي حكي. يعني حاجات بسيطة كلها. وبيضحك ايه النيل اللي احنا فيه؟ واحد راجع واحد صمم قلت دكتور بعد دكتور بيقول له عندك ايه؟ قال لي ولا حاجه كله كان وواحد راح قال له كل جسمي يوجعني. يا سلام كل جسمي يوجعني. Two extremes also. Are you clear whom you are standing before when you speak? يا جماعه ما ينفعش كده. ما ينفعش يقول لك ما الكونفيشن ده سين. طبعا سين. حضرتك مش شايف حاجه خالص. ممكن يسيب. يسيب بس yourself. نشكر ربنا الحمد لله. حسب يا جماعه. Jacob all these years, God considered him nothing. By the way, if you read it from this chapter, David is another character, a sweet character, very sweet. When Joseph is alive, he said, I will not move. He got an altar and prayed the Lord, go and see what. Depending 100% on whom on. One more point and we close. Okay? One more point. So the first vision, the ladder. should be what? Broken. This one is a warning. A warning. Open with me Genesis. The last thing. Genesis 30. Genesis 30. Tell me, what? He loved whom more? Jacob loves whom? Rachel, right? صح? Yes. What was the problem of Rachel? Anybody knows? You know from the story?
She was beautiful.
Now something very important happened within her, which he didn't see in the beginning, because he loves her, and he forgot something within her. When she went out with him, she came with her own idols. And in chapter 35, we discover that the house is full of what? Idols. So I'm warning boys and girls. When you pick up someone to marry, make sure that she is a believer, not Christian, Coptic. A believer, and I mean it. A believer. She knows God, not attending on Sundays only. She fears God in and out. Solomon spoke about the foreign wives, right? He said and he fell in this big pit. I've seen people, Yabuna, things will be okay. It will not sit that. He will change Ibrahim. يعني يبغى some few mistakes حاجات بسيطة. Carry on back. Carry on. You allowed it from the beginning. You accept. Carry on. He loves her. Imagine واحد بيحب واحدة كل الحب ده and she's carrying what? Idols. يعني. She hid the idols from him. And Moussa love this verse. His love for her was like 20 years was like few days. Yes. But sometimes love is what? No. Deceitful. You see something, you know something what? Fatal. And it will come. Please, Habibi. How will I know? How I mean, boy and girl, get to know God first. She will help me. He will help me. I doubt. I doubt. أبونا هيجي الكنيسة تسمع ربنا يبقى قابليني ولا حاجة ولا حاجة ولا أنت حكي. I will know God, especially with men. If the man is not with God, it's going to take the house all away. I'm speaking seriously, guys. If you want to think about your house, get to know God from now sincerely. To be ready that you are the priest and the one who's holding the house. If not, and I always say the story, a friend of mine in Egypt كده كان نفسه يتجوز واحدة عينيها خضراء وشعرها أصفر. عاوز واحدة يعني تمام. يا حبيبي هي كده. فضل يلف يلف يلف. أنا فهمت. واتجوز. فيما أخبارك إيه؟ إيه؟ أنا كنت عاوز حبيبي. قال لي she stand before the mirror time more than stand with me. قال لي نعطي تدخل مش أنت تختار مش عاوزها فل عروسة وزي عاوزاها إيه؟ ولا تحرق ولذيذ ومدهن اشرب شيلي. فكان جد. احنا ليه؟ احنا why and this is why God left me. God left you بجد. حاجة حقيقية. أبونا don't like me حبيبي I love you بس أنا بقول لك الحقيقة. بقول لك الحقيقة. أنا عاوزك إيه ولا خلاص هقول لك الكنيسة سابتني. على فكرة he paid. Jacob paid by the way. عارفين God closed the womb of Rachel صحيح بجد. عشان she was hurting her sister. ليه تعمل كده؟ Don't, please يا حبايبي, don't let love deceive your hearts. Love is not only emotions. Love is a commitment. Love is a commitment from both of you towards God first. If not, you have to revise what you are thinking. You have to take care. خلاص? I'm done. I'm sorry I took long time. 3 spots. Stop with you. The first one is what? The ladder. Okay? Please, God is stretching a ladder for you every day. Every day. The ladder is, I don't want to say you know this verse. When Christ met Nathanael in the New Testament, John chapter 1, he said the same word. I found the angels coming. That was the fulfillment of Christ. He's dead for us. The promise is there despite if. The promise. Don't say if with God. Go on. Don't put conditions. I believe the one who's supposed to put a condition is God, not what? Us. He's giving love unconditionally. Enter your room and pray. The blessing is there. And the last one was the vision when he wrestled in love. Cry and ask for what? Mercy. I think I would think Abuna, well, the last time I cried, I'm not tears, I was praying on the week of Passion. And that's normal cry. Prayer was so good. Yes, ma'am. Excellent. How was after Easter? The whole night was wrestling. The whole night. You have 10 minutes with God. When was the last time you give God 10 minutes? Pure 10 minutes. Sincerely. Pure 10 minutes. When was the last time? عشان كده نوع بيبيز الفاونديشن محتاج يتركب صح. بعدين خلي في النص الستيب بتاعته لما he loved Rachel and despite that he has what? Choices. It's your choice. God is going to tell you. And I know that it's a very hard decision. I know. But please think about if she a believer, if he a believer or not. He's a servant. He is a believer or not. I'm very clear. His father he is a believer or not. كل عيلتهم كهنة مساء فمش مهم هو ايه. هو صدقني هو ايه. هو بيعرف ربنا. بيخاف ربنا. هي بتعرف ربنا بتخاف ربنا. ولا الدنيا هتبقى كويسة. مش هتبقى كويسة الحقيقة. This is the experience يعني بصراحة. If from the beginning is not clear, خلاص. Any question حبايبي؟ حد عنده سؤال ولا حاجة؟ حاسين حاجة؟ لا بجد؟ any question حبيبي؟ Who's willing to wrestle for 15 minutes? Like every 2 days. Make it very easy for you. Close to everything. You wonder, they said go and lock your room and pray. What is preparing for you? What do you think? Go and lock your room. What is in his mind preparing? Preparing goodness, blessings. Do you think? Or you will say, no, time. I'm very busy at work. طبعا كلنا طبعا كلنا بيزي جدا تعرفش بيزي حاجات مالها بيزي انا اول say this phone انا engagement this phone the network and Facebook and Snapchat and طبعا بيكتشر طبعا كل حاجه تاخد تصور نفسك طبعا يعني انا I hate it. كل مال الدنيا بصور مال الدنيا بصور تخش اوضتك بقى على قدام ربنا عمال تقول انا هنا اهو انا طلعت السلم انا نزلت انا عملت بعدين سيلفي وداني وبعدين ايه ده صورتك قدامه شكلها ايه طيب؟ طب صورته اللي فيك عامله ايه؟ ده الاهم من اي حاجه. يلا glory be to God forever and ever.
Thank you, Abuna Moussa, for coming all the way. We have few announcements.